The 10 Best Trout Lures of 2025. 10 Berkeley PowerBait Floating Trout Worm Best for Tough Conditions. No matter how or where you're trout fishing, you're bound to end up fishing in less than ideal conditions. Snow melt and rain can blow rivers out. Dry conditions can make river flows low. Warm and clear, and sudden cold fronts can drop water temperatures and make trout sluggish. During these times, the only way to catch fish is with the most tempting morsels you can find, and that means using worms. And for my money, no other lure looks closer to, or fishes like, the real thing than the Berkeley PowerBait Floating Trout Worm. 9. Moon Dog Stonefly Larvae. It's best for dead drifting. One of the most productive and simple trout fishing methods. It consists of simply casting a lure into the water and letting it float downstream on a controlled drift, so that trout can dash out and snatch it from the moving water. A lot of anglers will talk about eggs and worms being the most effective dead drifting lures. 8. Warden's Flatfish. Its best trolling lure. Designed over 50 years ago, the Flatfish is a proven trout slayer with an intense, wobbling action that will attract and catch every species of trout, from giant Lakers and aggressive browns, to smaller, scrappy rainbows, and even big brook trout. 7. Lunker City Slug-Go. Best soft plastic. It's an extremely versatile lure that with the proper rigging, can be jigged along the bottom, twitched and pulsed through slow-moving currents or still water, or even dead drifted like a dead minnow. With a variety of sizes ranging from 3 inches to 9 inches long, you can use the Slug-Go to catch tiny, minnow hunting. 6. Leland's Trout Magnet. Jigging for trout is an extremely effective and underutilized method in both still and flowing water. While there are a ton of trout jigs on the market, I've never found one that's easier to use than Leland's Trout Magnet. It's a small, lightweight lure that can be slow jigged along the bottom in lakes and ponds or drifted, bounced, and twerked in the current of the river. The 164 ounces jig head is light enough to be easily cast and fished in shallow or deep water, while the split-tail worm body imitates everything on a trout's menu, from a nymph to a crayfish to a small baitfish. 5. Blue Fox Vibrax Spinner. Best for large lakes. In a big lake, trout can be almost anywhere, and so the more water you can cover the better. It's a game of long casts where you fish both deep and shallow water with alternating retrieval speeds. And for this type of fishing, nothing beats a Blue Fox Vibrax Spinner. It's the perfect spinner for covering water in a big lake when you don't know where the fish hang out. The pulsing flash and subtle vibration of the lure will call in big trout from a distance and cause them to absolutely smash the lure no matter where they're hiding. 4. Berkeley PowerBait Floating Mice Tail. A creative and incredibly effective lure, the floating mice tail was designed to both leak scent out into the water to attract trout, and has a lifelike action that will make them strike. The mice tail combines 2 of a trout's favorite foods, worms and eggs. There are very few trout in the pond that will be able to resist the floating mice tail's tantalizing allure, so long as you rig and fish it right. To fish the Berkeley floating mice tail properly, you need to rig it so the lure will float a few inches off the bottom. Set it up by first sticking a small number 8 or number 10 bait hook through the egg portion of the lure so that the tail will be free to float and dance in the water. 3. Acme Phoebe Spoon. Its best small stream lure. When it comes to simplicity, it's hard to beat a spoon, and the Acme Phoebe is the best of the bunch. On a small stream with tight corners and not a lot of casting room, where trout hold in small pools or deep holes, the Acme Phoebe can quickly and easily be dropped into the strike zone. The lure can be cast or even flipped into the river on a short cast and then pulled or retrieved through the sweet spots, or it can be lowered into the water and jigged in deep, trouty-looking holes when you don't have a lot of room to work. Featuring a baitfish silhouette that will attract the attention of trout, even when it's not moving. The Phoebe's real key to small stream success is in its hydrodynamic curvature. It causes the lure to both flutter or spin through the water with either a slow or fast retrieve, creating as little or as much action as you need. 2. Rapala Husky Jerk. Best large river lure. When you're fishing on a big river, Covering water and seeking out actively feeding trout is key, and nothing does it better than a Husky Jerk. The lure can be casted long distances and retrieved quickly or slowly worked through perspective pools, and runs on a short cast with equal efficiency. With a neutral buoyancy that allows the lure to suspend beneath the water. You can fish the Husky Jerk with a lot of jerks and pauses to imitate a wounded baitfish without it floating back to the surface. This means that you can keep the lure in the strike zone for longer and trigger trout to strike. The Rapala Husky Jerk is one of those lures you can rely on. 1. Warden's Rooster Tail, best overall. Invented in the 1950s, the Rooster Tail is a diminutive little spinner that packs a lot of bang in a tiny package. Its shape and size, combined with just the right amount of flash from the blade, makes the Rooster Tail imitate a variety of small baitfish. When a rooster tail with natural colors and a silver or gold blade is pulled through the water, it just screams food for trout, and when it's fished with a fluorescent color combo, it makes trout extremely aggressive. Designed to be fished on a light line and fast action setup, the rooster tail is a fantastic lure for prospecting for trout on medium to large rivers and lakes and ponds.